I want to talk about this post from Israel Adesanya. Can you show that, Zach? So this is a bit of UFC talk, but this weekend is UFC 305, I think it is, and the only fight I care about really is Israel Adesanya fighting Duplessis. Duplessis is from South Africa. Adesanya is supposedly a Nigerian or something like that, but he lives all over the world. So the white guy Duplessis has frequently referred to himself as the real African champion, and he currently is. He's got the belt because
He won the
He
short
beat
fight.
Strickland.
he beat Strickland, and so Adesanya posts this. This is wild. Why are you hard at your press photo, dude? Like he's back there getting a
school
chub.
of posing.
Yeah,
A meat off is wild. Some guy named Nick goes meat watching.
But is it me or wasn't the entire Olympics dudes are like showing packages like through the entire Olympics?
We opened
This
the
is a
show
lot
with
of
that
meat flexing,
French
dude.
Like
Hold
one
on,
guy
dude.
messed up his high jump because of his package hitting
Yeah.
the bar, right?
Yeah.
The big
Yeah,
dick French dude.
It's like because maybe it's because it's French, but nobody wore underwear in these Olympics or something. Like that
I
was
like
like
that
a
too.
thing.
I'm
That's
fine
when you
with
roll.
them.
That's
Yeah, I don't
when
love
you roll.
hairy
No
lines under
underwear.
my singlet.
Yeah, but like underwear for the men is fine.
Who you got in the fight?
Israel.
Oh my! I think Israel too, and then I think Strickland beats him again.
Could be.
Strickland's got the rematch. Like that's
Kyle,
Yeah.
Kyle, you're
order
pro
of-
Israel in every conference.
I've heard it. You never have it till you have it, but I know he's next in line. But
Mhm.
shit happens in the UFC.
for sure. But he's gonna sit and wait and not hurt himself. I guarantee
It-
that.
Asked me to put money on it. I put it the same way. I think Israel wins and then he loses.
Yeah,
we'll see.
yeah. It's gonna be a good fight.
Older than you
We'll
think.
we'll be in the hangout watching. Taylor, you should join us Saturday night, 10 p.m. Well, that's when it begins. The actual fight will happen around 1 in the goddamn morning, but that's East Coast time, so only a early
midnight.
midnight start time for you.
Maybe I'll pop
Yeah.
in.
Israel's
don't
35. Like for a guy that's
Yeah.
been in the UFC for like 5 years, you wouldn't expect him to be as close to 40 as
yeah, he was
is.
kickboxing champion around the world for a long time.
I wonder what his legacy would be like if he joined the UFC at 25. Would he be like, beaten and maybe a little mentally not the same because he learns his place at 25? So to walk in as a champion caliber fighter is the way to be? Or would he have had a 8-year reign or something?
Would Usman not have gotten a reign because Israel was there to keep him down?
Usman was at 170, right?
Oh, I always get those two mixed up. Yeah.
Yeah. So it would be like the Bisping Rockhold era, I guess.
Oh, old white guys. I think Israel can take them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's
That
the
was the
average-
clunky like white dude era.
That was like the post Weidman.
Every time I watch, I've never seen Luke Rockhold win a fight. I swear to God, I've been watching UFC for 10 or 12 years, like ever since you introduced me to it at your house that time, and I don't think I've ever seen that man win a fight. Even when he went to bare knuckle, he got his teeth knocked out by.
Maybe you saw him beat Bisping.
I saw Bisping win. I remember Bisping being on his little win streak.
Wait, am I wrong? Did they not?
I believe
Was that a
happened.
rematch? I'm not sure.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know if I saw Bisping beat him, but I just remember Bisping winning most of his fights. But yeah, I've never seen Luke win a fight ever. So the idea of if Israel had been there, you'd like to think that he could have had some crazy reign if he hadn't lost that Strickland fight. Like he's like in the GOAT conversation. It's crazy. And then Pereira, like avenging the Pereira thing was so crazy. And Pereira to me he's already like on the Mount Rushmore of UFC. Like how could he not be after what he's done? And Dana's not going to let him fight at heavyweight. But I want it so bad.
Me
Like,
too.
I think he can clean him out. I think he's the baddest man there is. He's so scary.
I get frustrated when I hear Dana talk about how John Jones is the absolute best and anyone who doesn't think so is a moron. And I'm like, you're talking about the 2018 best fighter in the world. Like that I won't disagree with. But this is 2024. John Jones, you think is still on top? Get out of here.
I don't know, because the last time I saw John Jones fight, he choked the motherfucker out in 1 minute and 30 seconds and then walked away saying,
Yeah, but that's what he's supposed to do.
And you could see that man. No,
Taylor's right.
What's he got to get in there and play checkers with him?
Yeah.
No, he's going to fight.
Yeah.
Don't give him too much credit.
he destroyed him, and he made like a Trump victory pose. Like I swear to God, Taylor, he's walking around going, shh, and over his shoulder, the other man looks terrified on the ground. It's fear in his eyes. You can see it. Zach, find me that picture of Cyril Gahn sitting on the ground with terror in his eyes, not understanding what's just been done to him. And John Jones walking away cold as fucking ice. Look, if the aliens come down, who do you send? Like to do combat? They're about like us.
All of China.
They look like us, except they're Ninja Turtle people. Like, all right. There's 6'6" Ninja Turtles, and we've got to send our best to do fisticuffs combat with them. Who do you send? Because I'm sending this guy right here. I'm sending that guy.
You're gonna let our best fighter get shot by aliens immediately in the battle?
What are you talking about? They have no. They have shown up and they.
Your tactical mind is lacking. You use the Chinese. The Chinese will break upon them like waves on a beach, and we'll weaken them with the Chinese hordes.
Look, when the turtles showed up, they challenged us. They said, "Humans, we notice your technology is far behind ours. Perhaps we settle this in the old way." And they're going to have a gladiatorial 1v1.
I have a better option, Kyle. Hear me out.
We got to say Boagrius and send a big motherfucker.
If you're going to send a guy to aliens, right? Sean O'Malley clearly enjoys the anal probe more than any other UFC champion.
They're not going to probe him, Woody.
Yes, have you not paid attention to alien abduction since the 80s?
You know what a Martian armbar looks like?
They put things in your butt.
That's all you're afraid of. That's the thing you're most fearful of.
I'm not because of the anal part. There was this part.
Is it because you're afraid? Is it because you're afraid you're gonna like it?
That'll be a brief. The anal
dude,
part
you get abducted and anally probed, and you tell me, and I call you gay.
Dude, that's looking gay now.
I'm texting Woody to the side. I'm like, this fucking gay guy is not the same. He's not my friend anymore. He's close.
Yeah,
but they wouldn't have just done that to you. What were you wearing, Kyle? A nightie and like a sleep cap.
He was asking for it.
Well, I was walking around my home with a lit candle. My bottle was plundered by the beings.
Bah humbug. No, if they the anal part would be a brief reprieve during the scariness of an alien abduction. That would be like, okay, all right, this is a little familiar. But what I always see, what I see in the movies is like they're like putting needles in their eyeballs and they're like drilling their teeth with lasers and putting weird like things in their neck and like taking them apart, vivisection without anesthetic, like you're an animal on a platter. And that to me is terrifying. That's why the only real world thing outside of nonsense that's kind of close to that is that sleep paralysis where you genuinely can't like get up and you're lying in bed. That's terrifying to me.
Well,
and
the
that and pufferfish venom. Like if you ever, where do you get pufferfish venom? Because that sounds terrifying.
Yeah,
from pufferfish?
From pufferfish.
Did you grow a pufferfish? Did you raise one in your tanks?
Yeah, dude, they're popular in the reefing hobby.
Oh shit.
They have a fish personality is one of two things. They're either aggressive assholes or they beg for food. That's what fish personality is.
Okay. I thought you meant the person who keeps them.
I thought that too, actually.
No, okay. So pufferfish beg for food. They'll eat straight from your hand. They'll let you pet them, stuff like that. They're pretty cool. They have big open eyes that you can.
That's the one, right? That their venom can cause that long-term paralysis, like that voodoo shit.
I'm familiar that they have venom. I don't know the effects. They can kill everything else in your tank when they die.
Is there a difference between pufferfish and blowfish?
I don't know what a blowfish is.
Isn't the blowfish the one that they make?
I think they're the same thing
that you could die from.
I think they just call. I've never hope. That's the one that like gets big with spines.
Yeah, that's what a pufferfish.
I'm sure it's a whole like.
They're the same thing. I googled it real quick.
Okay. Do they make venom that used in voodoo like techniques to make people into zombies and paralyze them?
This is outside my hobby.
I don't know what you seem like you were googling.
I can. I just looked up pufferfish versus blowfish. It says
you're the reef keeper. I'm just asking the expert.
They're both member of the order Tetraodontiformes.
Okay, so they're two different things, though.
Tetrodotoxin.
Family.
The opening sentence is literally.
What does tetrodotoxin do, Taylor?
This interferes with the transmission of signals from nerves to muscles, causing paralysis of the body's muscles. In general, TTX, tetrodotoxin, is more concentrated in the gonads, mainly ovary, liver, intestines, and skin of the pufferfish. And so I guess that would make sense if it's all in the mix down there. They're cutting around a lot of stuff to try and find the good bit, and there's no way it's that tasty.
Remember when Homer had it, and the chef is like very carefully cutting around the poison part?
Yeah, and then he accidentally eats it. And, oh, you must leave, and they like tell him to leave. And then the next that night, he's like, Marge, I'm coming up with a whole plan for tomorrow, my last day. He's like, wake me up at 6. And then she's like, wake me up at 6, and he wakes up at like 12:40 in the morning, and he's like, or in the afternoon.
Like, his last day on Earth. Yeah, that's
Homer,
a sad episode.
So you want to do a group watch of UFC 305? I'm in.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, sure. Patreon hangout. Jackie shows up most of them now.
Text me and remind
spirited. She picks on
midnight
guys.
Is such a late time for a fight to start. That's so fucking ridiculous.
So they start at 9, but by the time the last fight
10.
airs, it's like, Kyle's right.
This one's in Australia as well. So like for them, it's like noon the next day.
That sucks.
I no longer know what time it is. It's Australia.
10 p.m. Eastern time.
But they haven't changed it.
No, not that I understand. Okay. I looked at it 3 or 4 hours ago, and it said 10 p.m. start time, because I'm going to watch the prelims and everything. I like to get my money's worth with that ESPN Plus shit.
So by the time the last fight finishes, it's usually around 1.
Yeah. And sometimes it can go like really late if there's complications, and lots of fights go long, like they're scheduled for 5 rounds. That's 25 minutes. But sometimes you knock the motherfucker out in 30 seconds. They'll like play ball and play some promos in commercials, but eventually you got to start the fight, and they're not going to wait around for 20 minutes. So the night goes faster. This is my other.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, finish. I was going to transition.
I lost it. Sorry.
Well, one thing I can understand though is that, like, if you're in person at these fights and you're paying all this money, you can understand. You appreciate that it lasts a little longer, because you remember back in the '90s when these guys would pay ridiculous. They pay ridiculous amounts of money to go see Tyson fight, and it would be done in like the first round in like 32 seconds and stuff. That's like
UFC's a little different though, because in general you usually care about 3/5 of the card at least. Like this card's not that great, honestly. I think Gamrot or somebody's fighting. I only care about the main event, but oftentimes there'll be the real problem though is the viewing experience for UFC is poor because of the nature of what it is. It's 2 men in a chain link cage, way far away from you. So you end up sitting in an expensive seat looking at a Jumbotron instead of in your expensive seat at home looking at your Jumbotron with a bathroom 6 steps away. You know what I mean? And there's no traffic and everything. Woody and I have been to one. I didn't love the experience. It wasn't that crazy expensive. It was a few $100s, but I know they're doing the event, the Ocho event this year. The Mexican event is at the Sphere, and tickets for that are crazy. They're like $7,000-$10,000 or something a seat or something crazy like that.
I've been to 2. One with Kyle, like you said, and those were the best seats we could buy. I think Joe Lozon got us like a hookup to get us good seats. When I went to the one in Japan, I was literally in the fighters, friends, and family section. And Kyle's so right. The viewing experience is bad. You can't buy the seats as good as I had in Japan, and it was still bad. The cool thing was after the fighters fought, they came around and like sat near me. Like,
I'll tell you how you know it's bad. Like when you watch Joe Rogan and DC, and they're sitting ringside watching the fight, they're looking down at their fucking monitor because the fight is happening right in front of them. Yeah. And instead they choose to look at the view that you have at home because it is the better view. It's to be there and to like smell them, I'm sure is a fucking thing. And if they banging against the chain link and you could reach through and almost touch them, that's a thing.
It's not a good live sport.
But you're not Joe Rogan. You can't buy those seats. They don't exist. Right. You got to be Mark Zuckerberg or Donald Trump to get in that fucking seat as a civilian.
And so Kyle's right. It's better on TV. The sport is really good on TV. It's like made for TV in a way that like Formula One isn't. I watch Formula One a little bit sometimes too. And really I'm just more... It's a better viewing experience to watch the car rankings, like literally just their names in order. And I see the orders change and watch the race highlights. But what's cool about going there in person, the one thing that I do like more in person is you get to choose what you watch. If there's a rough knockout, They don't show it on TV very much. They really try to avoid that ugly side of the sport. The loser walking back to the locker room, he just vanishes if you watch it on TV. After a guy loses, he's not part of the show anymore.
Yeah,
But when you're there in person, you're like, shit, half the guys that come here tonight lose. And you get to see every one of them take a really dreadful
long
walk that is an important moment in their life, dragging their ass back to the locker room. If the loss is bad enough, a lot of times their team, they've got their arms on both shoulders and they're practically
they might be crippled and concussed.
Yeah, they're carrying this wounded warrior back to the locker room. And maybe it's personality flaw in mine, but I like to see the real agony of defeat, which is hidden from you on TV.
Definitely.
Yeah. That is. Yeah, you nailed it. That's the only things that you get that you can't get at home is you're your own production crew to some extent. You can see beyond what the camera wants you to see, but Jesus Christ, like I take that $10,000 and buy yourself a home entertainment center, right? like what are you doing? That will last you for years. Like now I live in a movie theater that I built with the $10,000 I was going to spend on a night staring at a jumbotron from my expensive chair. It doesn't make any sense to me unless you want to network and hang out with the other people who are there. Like if you're that guy, but as a fan who wants to see a thing, fuck that. No way.
A sport that's better in person that I'd rather watch in person than on TV is baseball. You can there's some obvious hockey, obviously, but baseball even it's pretty static. And you also can pick and choose when to pay attention more than other sports where you can be like, all right, I'm going to really lock in for, these next few pitches and then go get a fucking brat and then watch a few more pitches. Go get another
I disagree, and I'll tell you why.
So you can go to the bathroom. I mean,
my Irish and British background burns alive in that much sunshine. I am whiter than you guys think. These doors aren't yellow. They're supposed to be white. I am a pale motherfucker. You just don't know.
I do. I mean, I'll get a little sunburned, whatever. It's probably good for me.
Yeah, could you say get a big hat?
Could you say that about almost every sport though? I've been football games. Well, see, hockey is a smaller venue, but football games, I went to Syracuse, and the games you see in person, you can watch, they're a lot easier to watch on TV. You know what I mean?
That's true with you. I think you hit the nail on the head with hockey, basketball, the smaller rinks, the smaller court, there's just better viewing. It's just gonna be better. Whereas football, the most fun I had watching football games was in college at Mizzou, and I don't remember. I think it was fun because I was trashed with my friends. We were being hope we win, we can run on the field. It was just basically doing that. It wasn't we were man, with these seats in the student section, watching us get manhandled by Auburn.
Yeah, well, that's why I didn't
good seats.
It was one whole side of the stadium was students, and the other was alumni and people from Columbia who wanted to go for some reason.
When I lived 10 years ago, maybe more, in UNC, so UNC basketball is a really big deal here in this little triangle North Carolina section, and all the best seats were reserved for UNC alumni. UNC alumni, they call them the wine and cheese fans. They're kind of civilized. And one time, because of a heavy snowstorm, which in North Carolina is more than 2 inches, no one could come. So the students got to sit down up front, and then the players got to feel like a rambunctious crowd for the first time in UNC in ages. And they changed the seating. So now they put more students with.
Oh, really?
Now there's rowdy students kind of cheering the players on.
100% what you want. That's what you want to see on television too. That's what your sponsors want to see. That's just all around better. I remember watching Duke was huge when I was in high school, and just watching the Blue Devils, or the Cameron Crazies. That's what their fans are called.
Yeah.
They're all faces painted blue, even, and they're I remember they had some weird chant where maybe they kind of vibrated and moaned or something weird. It was always what?
They vibrated and moaned.
They like I don't remember. I remember them being like almost like an African like war dance where they were kind of going like oh and like kind of bouncing up and down on their toes.
Okay, that seems fun.